going too fast. I'm taking 3.
Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh, no.
Son of a bitch.
You get your 2?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we're going to take a look at a replay that was submitted to me on behalf of another player. Yes, ZBrazil in his Bismarck, and it was Alexei who passed this along to me. So we're going to take a look at this replay. Before we jump into it, because it is amazing, we do have a few announcements. First of all, the channel has reached over 500 subscribers, yes. So thank you very, very much indeed. I have been thinking, actually, about getting a contest together and giving away some prizes, and at the same time, maybe doing some hardware upgrades on the old computer. Because the computer is still bitching, but it's just pissing me off the way that I can't get my clear, crisp video quality going, and it's maddening. Anyway, second announcement is, as most of you know, I'm Canadian, and it's the holiday weekend coming up here. It's Thanksgiving, so I'm going to be away all weekend. So today is October 6th. I am going to be gone essentially tomorrow, and we'll be back Monday, October 10th, which means most likely there will be a video on Tuesday, October 11th. Yes. Second or third announcement, I guess now. Also, I mean, it's the beginning of I don't know, well, the volunteer season for me, I guess. I volunteer once a week with an organization that teaches youth about business and how to, start their own business and what's involved and all that crap. So that means that Wednesdays, not going to have any videos on Wednesdays because I'm busy all day long. So yeah, that's what's going to happen. And that'll start next week as well. I think it's October 12th is the first meeting there. Oh, Jesus, I just remembered something. I think that's going to conflict with something else. Well, whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. Holidays. Anyway. That's it for the channel announcements. Getting into the replay. So we can see the Bismarck here, right? ZBrazil. Ranked battle, by the way. We can tell by the 2 cap zones here. And we're on Northern Lights. It's just a north map with little fancy lights in the sky there, which is always nice. It gives, the map has some nice lighting going on here. More importantly, Bismarck. This ship looks amazing. Now, I don't have one myself. I have the guys now, and I haven't been playing the guys now as much because I've been really focused on ranked and training skirmishes and whatnot. But anyway, I'll eventually get there. But this battleship is amazing. Just amazing. It is better than a Tirpitz, definitely. There is Tomista in our clan. He has a Bismarck and a Tirpitz, and yeah, in his opinion, which I do value and trust, he has said that, the guns, he said the guns just feel more accurate on the Bismarck. I think it's a 2-meter difference between the Bismarck and the Tirpitz, but apparently that 2-meter difference just feels so much more, I guess. So you've got that going forward on the main guns, and then of course the secondary battery on this Tirpitz is phenomenal. It reaches out to 10.3 or 10.4 kilometers, somewhere in that range. I can't quite remember. And they are very powerful indeed. You can essentially just, set your secondary batteries to fire at a target, and they will kill that target. And while your main batteries, you might be focused on something a little harder, maybe a battleship, right? For example, the Bismarck is deadly against destroyers. Destroyers want to stay away from this thing as much as they possibly can. As well, the Bismarck has hydroacoustics, which is really, really important here. You can see, in fact, the enemy Bismarck that's coming around the headland right now is using the hydroacoustics on ZBrazil, and this is why ZBrazil is spotted at this time. You can notice, the way you're spotted. It gives you a little symbol there. That or it's a spotter plane, now that I think about it, but whatever. Bismarck comes around the corner, ZBrazil launches a salvo into him, does about 19,000 in that one salvo. That was pretty fantastic, and we see the smoke starting to dissipate now. And in the meantime, you can see that, you know, their original plan was to take B. They are coordinating in chat over there. So the original plan was to take B. However, the enemies have all basically come here to B. ZBrazil has advised his team, you know, to go ahead and take A, and that's where Alexei comes in, Alexei and the Fubuki, on his way over to A to start capping that. And that's exactly what you want to do. You know, we talked about flexibility and being fluid on you know, on the battlefield here a lot on the channel, and it's just, you know, bringing it back to that, right? You have your original plan, what you want to do. Turns out the enemy is going to prevent you from doing that, so you change the plan. You go to the opposite side or the opposite direction, take the opposite cap, and push where they aren't. Really important. ZBrazil here manages to get the first blood on the kill on the Bismarck, which is fantastic. And what was also very nice, because clearly ZBrazil here knows what he's doing in a battleship. You know, even though he did direct, you know, the team to go ahead and take A, and Alexei obviously knows how to play the game, being a destroyer, immediately says, you know, he's on it. That was going on. ZBrazil just didn't abandon B. No, he stayed there to still put up some resistance and prevent the enemy from pushing through B, which is exactly what you want to do. You do not want the enemy to push through, because then they'll easily surround you, and that's just not going to help anyone. So we have an Admiral Hipper coming into view here. Well, rather, just right next to us. We have our secondary batteries firing in at the Hipper. The Hipper has fired off torpedoes, but we can see that those torpedoes are all going to miss, and in the meantime, we have our allies and secondary battery just firing away here at this enemy cruiser. About to take it down, which is fantastic. Maybe get the kill. Might be our second kill. Who knows, right? Could even be a kill on the secondary battery, but we do get the kill. Not a secondary battery kill, but still, nonetheless. 2 kills for us, fantastic. We can see again, ZBrazil reminds, you know, go ahead and cap A. Alexei's all over it in there, getting into position to start capping A, which is fantastic. We have lost a battleship at this point in time, which does kind of suck, but the enemies have lost 2 ships as of now, right? They lost that Bismarck, and they lost the enemy and their cruiser as well, one of their cruisers. So yeah, it's not too bad, but we just saw one of our ships get murdered. So that is not great either. ZBrazil is turning his ship around to try and get himself back into position over here to start contesting B, because, you know, once one of your allies starts capping that point, you really don't have to go in there and cap it, especially if the enemy isn't contesting it whatsoever, like is happening right now. There's no real need to do that. So ZBrazil is turning himself around and getting himself back over to B to start contesting, potentially even cap the zone as well. Important to note about the turn that ZBrazil just made. In case you didn't notice, ZBrazil did lower his speed down to 3/4 to make the turn, and then once out of the turn brings it back up to full speed. Now the reason for this, of course, is the slower you're going, the smaller your turning radius is. So this allowed ZBrazil to make a sharper turn, in case you weren't aware. And I know I'm not one to talk. I do crash into my fair share of islands and allies, but whatever. We're going to put pressure on B here. We can see some of the enemies on the other side of the mountain range over here, and it does look like they're trying to regroup and get themselves back over to A. Now this essentially means that B is going to be opened up for us to get in here and cap, and we can see one of our friendly destroyers is in in A right now, capping it out, which is fantastic. No, this is B, isn't it? Yes. Damn it, Thotgor. Anyway, in B, starting to cap it out, and soon we might even have both caps, so that is great. The enemies, it does look like they basically did retreat from B, but some of you might have seen on the minimap there, we did catch a glimpse of an enemy destroyer that was behind our lines. There he is there, just popped up now on the minimap. So we do need to consider this person. I mean, it doesn't mean, you know, obviously we're not going to chase down a destroyer in this battleship. No, it doesn't make sense, especially when there are other ships to be firing at this time. But we do need to keep the player in mind. So are going to see some interesting things taking place here. We do see ZBrazil getting into some smoke, right? The destroyers were nice enough to lay down a nice smoke screen here that ZBrazil can get into. Once in this smoke screen, he will be undetected. His secondary battery, which he has targeting on the turrets right now, can fire, and he won't be seen. It's pretty amazing. Now, keep in mind as well, Bismarck has hydroacoustics. We see the torpedoes coming in from the enemy Fubuki that was behind us. An oh shit moment, and then there they go, saved by range. Excellent. Because of the hydroacoustics, there we go, popped it now. Even though, this isn't our smoke, obviously, so we wouldn't be able to see through it normally. We pop that hydroacoustics, and yeah, we can now see through the smoke, and we do see the enemy turrets. Now, I was wondering to myself for the longest time, like, why wouldn't you just fire your guns and do as much damage as you can to the enemy turrets, especially considering the turrets was hung up on the hull of an ally. But the minute you fire your guns, your main batteries, you will be spotted. And it might be more beneficial to sit here in the smoke, unspotted, undetected, and just let your secondary batteries do the work. This is something that the Bismarck can do very, very well indeed. Now, you'll notice our hydroacoustic is gone now, so we can't see the turrets anymore, but luckily, turret still does pop up. We'll notice as well that the smoke is now going away, right? Just because the smoke is there and we were sitting in it firing our secondary battery, not the main battery, doesn't mean we're not going to fire our guns, right? I mean, the smoke doesn't last forever. So now that the smoke is gone, it does open up the possibility here for firing off the main battery. We're spotted anyway, right? Looking around though, looking around to see where things are going. We know that the enemy turrets is over there. The enemy turrets hasn't fired at us as of yet. Here come the first shots from the turrets, so I guess we'll go ahead and return shots on the turrets. We still don't see that enemy Fubuki that was behind us, which is a little concerning. We see some shots coming in as well from the north, and that is the enemy Tashkent. The enemy Tashkent, by the way, is on pretty low health. We get some nice damage in on the enemy turrets there and manage to get ourselves a nice high caliber medal as well. So we have two enemy ships that we're basically going to try and get killed here in a very short period of time. We've got the enemy turrets, which our secondary battery is now firing on, and there is the enemy Mogami who's coming at us as well, so this opens up some excellent possibilities for us. Now, what I really enjoyed about this here as well is, what I really enjoy about seeing the Bismarck and, when I get the Bismarck is the way that you are able to divide your fire between secondary and main battery, right? For example, we're firing right now on the enemy turrets. Enemy Mogami just pops up. Great. We can control click on the enemy Mogami. Now, we don't see that in the replay because of the little things in the replay file not existing. But anyway, so our secondary battery essentially is now going to take on the Mogami, while our main battery is still focused on the enemy turrets. Because the enemy turrets, I mean, doesn't have much life, but it could still deal out a bunch of damage to us here, and maybe even potentially, not kill us, but give us a run for our money anyway, and we don't want that. So, there we go. We managed to take out the enemy Mogami with our secondary battery for the close quarters expert, managed to take out the enemy turrets with our main battery for the double strike, and now things are looking pretty decent for ZBrazil and Alexei for their team here. It was a little sketchy there, maybe. Some allied ships did die fairly quickly, but so far things seem to be going quite well. We saw the Tashkent pop up back there, right? And again, Tashkent is very low health. We also have an enemy Benson to think about as well. Now, the Benson is a pretty big threat. We can see torpedoes coming in now. So we know at least that we don't have to worry about one of the spreads for a little bit of time. And as well, we do still have an allied Kutsov with us. Now, the allied Kutsov is making his way over there to A to start recapping that point. So that is also pretty great as well. I mean, the points are pretty close right now. And where it's 2v2 like this, with enemy destroyers being the two last remaining ships, you do want to play it safe. And by taking both caps as quickly as you can, you're going to get... potentially you're going to get yourself a nice cushion of points that maybe you can work with should something go wrong. So we see the enemy Tashkent pop up once again, does set us on fire. We return our shots, don't hit. That Tashkent is pretty sneaky. I mean, for the rest of the battle, we're basically gonna try and deal with this enemy Tashkent. It doesn't go very well for, well, ZBrazil doesn't die, but we're never actually able to take out that dirty Tashkent. I almost call it the trash can. And coincidentally, I hear and I understand that it's actually not that bad of a ship at all. It used to be pretty terrible, but now it's not too bad at all. So interesting, I guess. Secondary batteries start opening up, and it looks like the enemy Benton has decided to come over and play. So alright, we're going to start turning towards the enemy Benton. You'll notice we're loading up our high explosive. Why not, right? There's only 2 enemy destroyers remaining. Doesn't make sense to keep the armor piercing in. But also maybe you noticed there at the beginning of the battle, ZBrazil was not hesitant to fire at enemy destroyers with the armor piercing, and it's something I would encourage from all battleship drivers, especially in these ranked battles. Even though, you might not do too much damage to the enemy destroyer because it's going to be an overpen, you should still take the shot at the enemy destroyer. Those enemy destroyers are a pretty big threat. If you have an enemy destroyer 10 kilometers away, shoot at it rather than the battleship that is 20 kilometers away. Anyway, enemy Benson does start capping B. We can see that we did actually eat 1 torpedo from the enemy Benson, and we just need to wait for our repair to cool down before we can stop the flooding. Enemy Benson also has popped smoke, so we know that the enemy Benson is somewhere in and around over that area, and we're going to try and get in and block the cap and potentially even take out the enemy Benson. In the meantime, our ally Kutov did manage to take the A point and is now trying to chase down the enemy Tashkent. You can see the Tashkent popping up on our mini-map now, and the Kutov making his way over towards him. Well, kind of. Fighting a Tashkent at max range is not advisable. Anyway, enemy Benson does start popping up again. Excellent use of the acoustic sonar. One of the advantages of this enemy Bismarck, or of this Bismarck, it really does help out the Bismarck. So we get some shots into the enemy Benson, take out the Benson's engines, and do a bunch of damage. Enemy Benson fires off torpedoes, but it does look like we are going to be able to dodge these torpedoes without too much hassle. We've already fired off our main battery, so now it's all about our secondary battery now. To get the most out of our secondary battery, but not expose ourselves too much to enemy torpedoes, we do have to turn. Benson fires a second torpedo strike. We are able to dodge it as well, which is fantastic. Get the kill on the Benson, which gives us the Kraken, and as well, that is our second close quarters expert. My god. 130,000 damage, somewhere in and around there is what we're sitting on right now, and as well, we are now capping the point, which is fantastic. Of course. Of course it's fantastic. Oh, what a game, what a game. Now, we just have the enemy Tashkent remaining. This guy is, I mean, he knows it's all over, and he's just running away, and I would have, still tried to stay and fight. I'm not sure what the Tashkent's detection is. I know it's probably not very good, but still, maybe try and get in as close as you can without firing your guns and fire some torpedoes, if that's possible. Or maybe it just result in your death. I don't know. Still, Tashkent's going to try and run away and get away with whatever he can. As well, I mean, with the new economy changes, it's not like this is going to save the Tashkent any money or anything. I guess it's just one less kill, or one less death. Meh. We can see that Kutov is still struggling to land any shots, and I say struggling because he's been firing at this Tashkent for a long time, and as a Kutov player myself, I just find it hard to believe that out of all those shots, you just couldn't land one to finish off that Tashkent. But still, we're chasing down the Tashkent. Time is quickly running away on us, and we are almost to 1,000 points now. So it was a pretty decent battle, not too bad at all. Really fun to watch as well. Now at the end of the video here, you see it starts getting all jiggity janked, and I don't know why. It's just but anyway. Doesn't really matter. We're just chasing down a Tashkent. But yeah, no, ZBrazil. I mean, this was a pretty damn great game, and an excellent example too of what the Bismarck is fully capable of, and especially in a ranked battle like this. I mean, if you keep your wits about you, the Bismarck is going to be an excellent ship for competitive play. Now, the reason why she's an excellent ship for competitive play is that she just plays so differently than the other battleships, right? Like, you actually, with this ship, it actually does make sense, you know, for you to get in there close. She has the armor, the legendary turtleback armor, if you will, to quote-unquote prevent citadels from taking place. The amazing secondary battery that can reach out beyond 10 kilometers, right? It all adds up to being a pretty damn amazing battleship. It's really good. Now, I wouldn't say it's the hardest battleship to deal with, but still, very good. So we unfortunately don't have full screenshots to take a look at, but Alexei was kind enough to forward this off, which is his post-battle results, and we can see again the medals that were earned here by ZBrazil. So well over 2,000 base experience. Again, the 2 close quarters experts, First Blood, Kraken Unleashed, High Caliber, and the Devastating Strike. Fantastic game, and thank you, Alexei, for forwarding this off to me, and as well, congratulations to ZBrazil. This was one hell of a game. So that is it for now, folks. Remember, I will be back on the Tuesday next week. I forget what date that is already. So we can expect videos once again on the channel on October 11th is when we can expect more videos. Anyway, as always, leave any comments you have for me in the video comment section below. Love reading those and responding back to them. Remember to hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber. And as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.